dedication, Abdullah Qureshi traveled 180 miles to attack Jews in Stamford Hills. So Abdullah Qureshi, this charmer, 29, was accused at Thames Magistrate Court on Thursday of anti-Semitic. We covered this news story, by the way, but now I think it's gone to the now the trial has started. So on Thursday of anti-Semitic attacks against 3 Orthodox Jews, the hate crime charge followed a protest campaign that challenged the prosecution's decision to drop religiously aggravated crime from the charges against him. So this wasn't a religiously motivated attack, basically. Okay, so Susanna did a very she showed a very interesting study that showed Jews were the least Islamophobic. And you know what was the second group that were the least Islamophobic?
Don't know, Christians?
No. Atheists. And then Muslims. So basically Jews and atheists are less Islamophobic than Muslims. And how they measured it.
What?
Yeah. So how they measured it, they asked these questions like, do you think Islam does encourage violence or something like that? So there's a study in detail. I think Susanna and Armin, they talked about it. So I think we'll probably talk about it next time because I forgot to ask her to send me that study. So that shows that a lot of Muslims themselves believe that, yes, the Islamic teachings or some certain Islamic values can take us towards violence. So if a non-Muslim says that, he's labeled as Islamophobic. But that means Jews and atheists actually don't think that about Muslims or Islams. So my point here is, when you become too enlightened, then you start losing your best interests. And this is exactly what happened this is what's happening with the Jewish community, because Jews are probably the most enlightened people. They criticize, they introspect the most. And then they say, so what happens when you criticize yourself the most? Then you stop seeing atrocities that are being committed against you. Jews were very good at that. They used to say, hey, oh, this is anti-Semitic. This is anti-Semitic behavior. They used to cry a lot about it. And as a result, everyone was scared. They were like, ooh, we're not going to say anything. We're not going to make any jokes about Jews. Fair enough. Okay, good consciousness raising. How does it, what did they say? Yeah, so this is a consciousness raising exercise. But now Muslims took over. And now Muslims are not doing that. So they say, now they're behaving like how Jews used to behave, like, hey, look at this, we're the biggest victims. And again, not watering down the suffering Jews had to go through, especially after the Second World War. Before, there were Russian pogroms as well before that. So Jews have always suffered. So, but now they tend to not cry victim as they used to. So as a result, people have started taking them easy. So when there is there's an anti-Semitic activity carried out, people are saying, yeah, well, no, maybe it's not really that. So that is a prime example of that, because look at this. How is this guy? This guy is aware of that hadith that says that when you see a Jew, push him in the lowest part of the street. And literally there was a video. I think it wasn't this guy. It was some other guy. Similar guy who did the same thing in England. Now, this guy punched 3 random Jews just because they were wearing the kippah and the Jewish attire, and they were old men. I remember seeing that video. So this was purely a religiously aggravated crime, but the prosecution decided to drop that charge because they know that if we don't drop this charge, then Muslims are going to come hard at us. If we drop that charge, then Jews are not going to come that hard on us, because Jews have, they've gone soft lately, and that's the reason. So it's a calculated risk that the prosecution took.
It's pandering. That's what it is. It's literally pandering again.
That's exactly.
Muslims have been so successful in, as you said, pushing this victim narrative. They have been so successful in really embedding that into Western psyche that you all need to apologize for the way you've treated us this far, and you need to give us spaces in your countries and allow every single one of our, they make it be viewed as culture, so leave it all alone, don't be bigoted and don't speak about it. But it's actually the insanely bad ideology of religion that causes you to commit hate crimes like this, which, let's be honest, it's probably completely religiously aggravated. It's not like your religion as a Muslim tells you to go and hug Jews or be nice to them or buy them lunch, or it actually says push them to the narrowest part of the street. It says that God has turned them into monkeys and they're the scum of the earth and horrible things. The Quran is full of anti-Semitic hate speech.
Well, here it is. Do you want to see some? My collection?
Sure.
The Prophet said to Hassan, abuse them with your poems, and Gabriel is with you, i.e. support you, through another group of sub-narrators, blah, blah, blah. So even Prophet Muhammad said that abuse them, just screw them. This is the Prophet saying, Sahih Bukhari 4123.
The Quran also says not to take them as your friends and stuff as well. Like literally, it's forbidding you from making having good relationships. So if you're in a country where you're living in a pluralistic society, but your actual God tells you not to befriend Christians or Jews, which might be a large portion of, is that it?
Yeah, chapter 5, verse 51. You who believe, do not accept Jews or Christians as sponsors over believers. It wasn't sponsors. They changed the meaning here. It's actually friends or allies. So that's what it meant. But anyway, so some of them act as friends for one another or allies for one another. You can see that in Urdu translation. Those themes, friendship. Any of you who makes allies, there you go. Now you got any of you who makes sponsorship. So why didn't he not use the word sponsors here? Because it wouldn't make sense. Any of you who make allies with them becomes one of them. So don't be friends with Jews. They are filthy creatures, according to
because by association, then you are no longer Muslim. How bad is that? You're literally as bad as them. You're denigrated.
Yeah. You will find the most violently hostile people towards those who believe are the Jews and those who associate others with Allah's God, meaning Christians, while you will find the most affectionate of them towards those who believe are those who say we are Christians. Okay, so Christians are slightly better than Jews. But have a look at this one. Allah's messenger said, may Allah curse be on the Jews, for they built the places of worship at the graves of their prophet. So, okay, that's just the difference in their theological beliefs. But why curse? So if Allah curses them, then of course, people are going to curse them too. Where's the other?
Just the importance of this. I know we're just like glossing over it, but because there's a lot there, and we'll get the really like hard hitting ones. But you get the idea. Jews are basically cussed out. They're scum. They're completely off the right path. They've taken other partners besides Allah. There's factually wrong things in there as well. But basically, they are the enemy. And imagine if you read this day in, day out, if you pray and you say these things and you genuinely believe this with all of your heart, you have actually seeped that concept into your psyche that this is me, that is the enemy. And how can you ever expect society and on a macro level humanity to progress when those views are imprinted and then harbored by so many adults around us? So even people that we say are, that's just a pacified Muslim, then they would never do anything, but they really believe in it. Even somewhere deep down then in their brain, for them to understand that they are a good Muslim, they need to believe that Jews are wrong and bad and not to befriend them. I mean, I struggled with that when I was in school because I had friends in such an international school from all religions. And the first thing I'd think when I find out what religion they was, oh shoot, like, are they going to go to hell because they're not one of us? And you have to get past that, and you form friendships, but you're thinking in the back of your head, why would my God send this person to hell? Like, why? But this is just embedded. It's so dangerous. It's not just, what I'm trying to say is it's not just the jihadis who go and, strap bombs to themselves that are dangerous. It's also this psyche that is dangerous.
Yeah. I heard we were presented to the Messenger of Allah on the day of Qurayza, which is Banu Qurayza. Those whose pubic hair had grown were killed, and those whose pubic hair had not yet grown were let go. I was that's just one of the stories of the Banu Qurayza, what had happened. But here's an interesting one. Let me share. These are obviously people would say, well, that's not that relevant to hatred. It's just warfare, even though that is pretty filthy warfare. But have a look at this one. That's the infamous Sahih Hadith. Abu Huraira reported that the Prophet, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, said, "Do not give the people of the book the greeting first. Force them to the narrowest part of the road." And people literally do that. People literally do that.
Haris, you know what would be so funny to say back to a really religious Muslim? If they say like, "Assalamu alaikum," just be like, "Wa alaikum assalam." They would hate that.
Yeah. And obviously, then there's this hadith.
Obviously, don't do that because you might get your head chopped off, but it was a joke.
Then there's this one, Musnad Ahmed and Jamia Tirmidhi, 1606. The Messenger of Allah. This is from Umar. You know Umar, this guy.
Sure, you're going to show us his
this guy Umar,
great man
from
himself.
The Lady of Heaven. That guy Umar. So look what this hadith is saying. So Umar is saying that the Messenger of Allah said, "If I live, if Allah wills, I will expel the Jews and the Christians from the Arabian Peninsula." So Muhammad died basically. So, but then Umar himself did it. "If I live, inshallah, I shall certainly expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula." And Umar did actually expel a lot of Jews and Christians. If you put expel
and
Jews.
very in line with what they were doing in Muhammad's lifetime, when they actually commit like proper just took over actual Jewish tribes and commit genocide there and just captured their people. It's just an extension of what was happening. If they were still allowed to stay in the Arabian Peninsula and around Mecca and Taif and Yathrib, they were eventually going to be either captive, forced to convert, or expelled. Like, it's just a natural continuation of what was happening during Muhammad's time, right?
Yeah. And here's that infamous Sahih Muslim hadith. "The last hour will not come unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree.
Hilarious.
And a stone or a tree would say, 'Oh Muslim, oh the servant of Allah, there's a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him.' But the tree, Gharqad, would not say, for it is the tree of the Jews."
Someone there has definitely like tripped out on shrooms and had a tree say to them, "I'm the Jewish tree," and they've had a fight with one and they've fallen in love with the other.
Exactly. So I think the Jewish scholars know this, and shame on them if they don't call Muslims out, and shame on anyone who actually says that this guy, look at him, he's aware of all these hadiths. These are these that I've just told you. You don't learn about them by becoming a scholar of Islam. You and I, we've all heard about these hadiths. These are very famous.
We're taught this. Don't. I don't know. I was taught this. Don't befriend Jews. It's a normal thing.
Yes, this is common knowledge amongst Muslims. This is the reason why this guy was motivated to attack Jews.
Yeah, imagine if you know it just on the surface level, like Haris and I did, but you look at somebody like him who was outwardly expressively religious. So obviously he is quite a devout man. He would know exactly what those scriptures say. He would know what treatment is prescribed by him, by his Allah or Muhammad, because then for Jews.
But look at that. He lied. This is why I say these lovers of the Prophet. This is a classic case of al-taqiyya. Qureshi, who represented himself, admitted to carrying out a string of assaults in Stamford Hill in North London, but denied that he picked his victims based on their religion. Oh, so they were wearing kippas and the Jewish outfit, and they had the Jewish beard, and you just randomly handpicked them. Why did you do it?
It just happened. So every time I intended to strike out, it happened to be a man that looked like that. What?
The prosecution initially accepted his version, but later admitted their mistake. After London Mayor Sadiq Khan condemned the appalling attacks, good on Sadiq Khan, the revised charge accuses Qureshi of deliberately choosing to attack Jews. Qureshi hails from Dewsbury, West Yorkshire. People look like this from West Yorkshire. Anyway.
Enclaves in England, you wouldn't believe it, Horace. Well, you would. I think you've seen some of them. Probably.
I've seen some of them horrible places. London is a mess. Had to travel 180 miles from his home to North London. One of his victims reported speaking on the phone when Qureshi hit them over the head with a bottle. Qureshi then slapped a Jewish boy, 16, who was on his way to school, and then punched a man named Jacob Lifshitz into a wall and beat him up. All these guys were old men. I think they've hidden those videos now.
And a 16-year-old boy as well.
Yeah. Lipschitz, who was on his way to
Look
to
at it, but
synagogue.
Horace, how cowardly is that? You're picking on old men and a little boy,
Yeah,
not even someone
yeah,
your own age.
yeah,
So
yeah. Or your own
cowardly.
child. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. These guys are brave. Should I play the video where when they are in a gang, when they're in a mob, how brave they act, but when they
Is this
are
the Punjab
cornered,
police one,
yeah,
please?
the
I
point.
don't. Okay, play it for
Okay.
the audience.
Okay.
Okay,
No, they probably know. I'm not going
okay,
to say it, but
okay. I
because
can't
they're
do
not going
that.
to get it. But anyway, but these guys, we know, we've seen this video, was
Yeah.
dressed in a Haredi attire like Qureshi's earlier two victims. There you go. They were wearing the traditional Jewish attire.
Orthodox attire, yeah. Yeah, you know what's, yeah, it's so weird that there's all this hate because, to be honest, like if you look at the Orthodox community, or especially like the Hasidic community, right, that I've just looked into a little bit recently in New York, but it's so damn similar to some of the fundamental tenets of Islam, especially the concept of like women as property and baby making, and women are forbidden from so much, and the piety culture, the modesty culture, like and you know, even just the like how they wash themselves and the rituals, and they would, if an Orthodox Jew and a fundamental Muslim sat in a room together, minus the theological differences, honestly, you'd think they'd be besties. And yet
Yeah,
here we are.
yeah. Anyway, so Qureshi hails from Dewsbury. Am I saying his name? Dewsbury?
Dewsbury, yeah.
Okay, so well, Aussies would read it Dewsbury, which is just ironic. West
Oh
Yorkshire,
yeah, I just got that.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Dewsbury, West Yorkshire, and had to travel 180 miles from his home to North London. One of his victims reported speaking on the phone. Blah, blah. Sorry, I read that already. So the prosecutor, David Matthew, told the court on Thursday the prosecution's case is that on August 18, 2021, Mr. Qureshi traveled all the way from Dewsbury in West Yorkshire and purposely went to Stamford Hill because it is especially associated with the Jewish community. He went there deliberately and targeted members of the Jewish community and carried out deliberate, unprovoked, religiously motivated aggravated assaults on the three victims who were wearing traditional clothing. He planned to be in that area and directed his aggression on those who were noticeable members of the Jewish community. Other people who were not wearing such clothing were not targeted. The Daily Mail reported that Qureshi spoke in a broad Yorkshire accent in court and argued with the prosecutor and the court staff over their questions. Qureshi will be tried at Stratford Magistrate Court in November. Stratford is where that Westfield is, yeah?
Yes.
That's a mess as well. There are 35 more. Look at this. There are 35 mosques in Dewsbury, West Yorkshire.
I know. A part of me thinks he just got fed up living in a place with that name.
Exactly. One of them, the Merkazi Masjid, with a maximum capacity of 4,000, is one of the largest mosques in Europe and the European headquarters of the Tablighi Jamaat, which is Deobandi sect of Islam, hails from India, a transnational Islamic missionary movement. So this is what's happening. As I said, you're going to see more and more of these attacks in your closest neighborhood. They're coming for you. So say goodbye to the dream of an egalitarian society where we are all equal. We all should open up our borders. I am an open border person, but not like that. Not from cultures that don't share the similar values. Okay, that's just my opinion. I know our patron-in-chief, Mariam Namazi, if she hears it, she's going to hate it. And she's going to say, Haris, you're cancelled. I'm never going to anoint you again. but I'm sorry. I don't believe in people who don't share the common values of secularism, humanism. I'm sorry. There should be a strong questionnaire before they're given asylum. I am very sympathetic towards people. It is a dilemma. People who were fleeing the Taliban, some of them could be very harsh Muslims who hate Jews and who believe in child marriages, etc., but they don't like the Taliban. Should we give them refuge or not? It's a difficult one. I can't answer that, but I can give a broader statement. I can say, I'm sorry. They need to be asked. They need to be asked the question, do you support pedophilic marriages? Do you support that? Without bringing up Prophet Muhammad, do you support that? It's a double-edged sword for them. Yes, they can lie on oath. As you can see, these people can lie. They can say, no, my attack on these random Jews had nothing to do with Islam. No, I just didn't like the sense of fashion. They could say that. They can lie. But still, if you have this, in the form of a statement. And if they do breach that, you ask them, hey, what did you do? Sorry, we're canceling your citizenship. Maybe not citizenship, but that's why don't give them citizenship straight away. Give them citizenship after being 10 years on good behavior or something. Then give them citizenship. Just give them permanent residence, but don't give them citizenship for at least 10 years. And then if they breach, they're likely to breach something in those 10 years. Ship them back. Ship them back.
I also just want to quickly say this is this is another point I missed, actually, that the similar, so this is referring to the similarity between Orthodox and Islam as well. The similarity doesn't stop there. The hatred for the outgroup is exactly the same in Islam and Judaism. That is extremely true as well. And that is the root cause, basically, of all of these major issues. The second that you have this much fear of the other, or you've got genuine concerns behind it, like, it was actually quite deep, because a lot of the Hasidic Jewish community in New York are the ones who fled to America as survivors of the Holocaust, and like, they rebuilt their lives, and now they were like, no, they genuinely think that the Holocaust happened to them because, well, I guess this is the only way you rectify still having a God, right? Because some people said on the walls of the concentration camps, it was carved, if God exists, he needs to ask for my forgiveness. So obviously people had a crisis of faith when they were in there, because of course, look what's happening around you. But the survivors that actually went to New York and tried to rebuild their lives genuinely have told themselves this, theologically, this happened because we digressed and we deviated from the original commandments of God, and therefore God punished us. And so now they have made this little enclave for themselves where they literally are suspended in that time from like the very beginnings of Judaism in its most purest form, in its most ritualistic form, which they are on a mission to rebuild the 6 million that they think were lost. So that's why even if they lose a member of that community, it's such, they actually send, or almost like send hitmen to go get them back. They send people to bring you back. And that's why I was able to actually really see parallels into how difficult psychologically and physically and emotionally it is to leave like a situation like being an Orthodox Jew and trying to invest yourself and get back into normal society. It's the same level of shunning. It's the same level of ostracization. And the manipulation, the gaslighting, the tactics to bring you back, it's very much what ex-Muslims would face trying to flee Islamic countries, or even Western countries trying to like move away from their family, or move away from these pockets in the UK that we see, and try and start a new life in Liverpool, or Southampton, or somewhere else where nobody knows them. But yeah, I was going to say another point on that thing, because it's so interesting with the Orthodox Jews. They also have this concept where if you basically leave and you speak about them, that's also a problem, right? So again, it's the whole concept of hushing everybody. So yeah, insanely similar to what Islam does to people. Yeah, and I'll probably do this because I found it so intriguing. There's a couple of other points I want to touch on, but yeah, crazy similarities, and that's what that cult tribal mentality does.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone!